That's no moon. That's a... No, wait. That is a moon. Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Zareth Prevails, folks. This is the last composition video that I'm going to make of all the different teams in 5v5, and I promised you guys a Galactic Legend one. I'm going to do that. We're going to also, eventually, I'm going to be showing you guys a bunch of different counters to the Galactic Legends. I'm going to make a video that kind of outlines which teams you can use on what, and we're going to talk a little bit about that, but that is in the future as well. We're going to be talking today about how you can make teams work with Galactic Legends so that you're not just kind of screwing yourself for later for other teams. Like, you want to get the most bang for your buck, so you want to be able to use the full faction that you have geared, because everyone requires so many crazy unlocks, and you need to make sure that you're not getting in your own way. And in some cases you do have to get in your own way, and in some cases you sometimes you just want to get in your own way. No, that doesn't happen, but we can go and look at them. We're going to look at all 6 Galactic Legends and how they fit with the other teams in the rosters so that you can actually get the most bang for your buck. I feel like I've already said that phrase at least once, so instead of saying it a third time, I am going to just remind you, if you want to support this channel for free, all you have to do is hit that thumbs up button, leave a comment in the comments area. Both would be super fancy of you, even if it just says algo. We're trying to mount the algo rhythm, and I can't do it without you hitting all those thumbs ups and the comments, guys. All of that interaction is really good for my channel, and I really appreciate it. Trying to grow this channel to be super duper duper huge, and you guys are helping. I really appreciate all of you, so thank you for that. Hit that sub button if you haven't already, and if you want to support the channel for not free, you can also join my Patreon, which is in the video description. So, well, with all that said, let's actually get to it, folks, shall we? Whoa, we're in the game. Madness. Whoa. Whoa. Whoa, why are we up top? Okay. So, we've got Rey first, folks, and she's kind of a complex one. She's the oldest Galactic Legend, or tied for oldest, and in my opinion, she is still extremely functional. In my opinion, she's also moved to a more offensive role, and so we have to be careful, because the traditional Rey team is a team with Jedi training Rey and the Hero Bros, and then like Holdo, or I mean, you could add a random other tank that isn't Resistance, but Holdo's fine here. Holdo's fine, and this is a good team on defense, it's fine, and on offense, it's fine, but the problem being, you screw yourself out of getting another squad out of it. And so, like what a lot of people have been doing, and this is what I like to do, is you put Jedi training Rey on defense with her 2 droids, and then Resistance Hero Finn and Poe can just kind of hang out with them, and you don't have to make Finn super fast. If you want to do the typical Resistance build with Rey, you need to make Finn super fast. You want him to be like 340 speed or more. If you have him on the Resistance, on the Jedi training Rey team, then he can be considerably slower, because he's the fourth. He goes fourth regardless. He can be 340 speed. He can be like 360 speed, and as long as you have a kind of quick BB-8, he's still gonna go fourth. So you may as well just leave him at 305 or something, some mundane awful amount. But if you have Rey, like I said, if he's on a Rey team, you need to make him fast. The one good thing about having this Rey team here is then you could potentially put BB-8 with your Grievous team, and R2-D2 could go with like Padme or something like that. But if you're stuck on this, you can kind of get a little bit more out of it, but this is taking up 2 teams, and so I kind of like the alternatives anyways, guys. So if you kind of move farther down, we have the Puzzle Box Rey Cat team. Oh, well, so I don't necessarily love this, because a good, whoa, why did I, oh, okay, well this team isn't practical obviously because it has Kenobi. What I meant to do was put GK on this team. So GK is the last one. This is the Puzzle Box Raycat team, and it's good, it's fine, it does a lot of damage. If you have an offense Ray, that's fine. The problem being, if you have a Supreme Leader a Sith Eternal Emperor team that has 200k health, and he has all of the different, the armor buff and everything, then this squad isn't going to cut it anyways. She can't ultimate for enough. Even if Cat is alive, it's still very smooth. You just go and hone this team really hard with Sith Eternal for nothing. And so, in my opinion, this is kind of a waste of a team, and especially if you have GK there, you could probably put a different tank there, frankly, but it's still, the more pieces of this team that fall out, the worse the team is, and and then it starts being able to be countered. If it's on defense, it can start being countered by a ton of different teams if you start taking all these different pieces out. So I don't necessarily love Raycat anymore because Sith Eternal counters it so easily, and Jedi Master Luke also counters it relatively easily, at least if you Relic 9. Even at Relic 8 I was beating it. So I wouldn't say that is a great way to use your Cat, because Cat goes really well with Jedi Master Kenobi, as we all know, and stuff. So the two that I really like, though, so on offense here, and I'll be actually, I think tomorrow, when I'll be releasing a video on this, on the Ray counter to Jedi Master Kenobi. This team works really well, and so obviously it uses a lot of good Jedi, but not like super expensive Jedi. Like, I'd say this is a fairly reasonable cost to take out a Jedi Master Kenobi team with Cat. So with good banners and everything. So this team works, and then you can go forth and do your other stuff. But if you don't want to do that, so you could do that for offense, definitely. And then you have your Jedi Training Ray team on defense or on offense, whatever you choose. The other option, of course, is on defense. You could put Ray with your Vando team. And what happens a lot of times, you have the Vander Chewie, so he's constantly reviving all these other guys too. And Queel can revive IG. It's kind of a mess. The Beskar Mando actually does a huge amount of damage anyways, even though he's not in the lead. And it can be pretty cool. This team, obviously, then you don't have a Beskar team, but if you want to put a team on defense, this is a good one. And Vander makes it also, he revives people, but he's also making it so that 25% of damage is not done to people as long as he has a buff, which he's going to have a buff a lot of times because she a lot of times will apply her lifeblood to him. And then if you're trying to kill Vander, you're doing what? Minus 50% damage? Or can you do... I forget if the damage mitigation from him is on everyone else or just on, is on him, or yeah, okay. So as long as he's buffed, so if he has lifeblood, and you can game it so that he always gains lifeblood depending on your max health and everything. But in addition, all enemies deal minus 25% damage. So if he's got lifeblood on him as well, and he's getting all of that protection from Ray, you're only doing 50% damage to Vandor. Meanwhile, you're trying to get past the taunt on IG-11, and Beskar Mando is in poop stance all the time and trying to kill you, and putting healing immunity on you. Ray's doing her whirlwind, her ults. Queel is healing people. Queel the heal... That doesn't rhyme. I thought it would. But we can move on. It's a good team, and, it's very difficult to remove. Like, Supreme Leader Kylo teams would really struggle against it. The Jedi Master Kenobi teams would just WTF pwn it real fast, real hard. But, you can't expect too much. It's a good team. It just takes... It's a good team because it takes two teams to work. So those are the Ray teams. Let's look at Kenobi. So the best version of Kenobi is obviously the Kenobi with the Togruta twins and General Kenobi and General Skywalker. General Skywalker needs to be with 501st though, because he counters a lot of Ray teams on his own, and though I think that he would fail against the Beskar Mando build, by the way. Anyways, this is the best team, the best version, and I think that you should stay away from it just because it costs too much. Instead, you want to start looking at it more like what characters can go where. So General Skywalker should go elsewhere, and General Kenobi, if you're keeping Kenobi on offense, you can use this for the mirror. You can use a team like this because what happens is you need one character who can actually do some decent DPS if you can. So Ki-Adi-Mundi's fine, and he actually gives these guys some minor boosts here anyways, even though they're not all Jedi, because Kat, of course, is not a Jedi. She's just a poser, like an attractive poser, depending age dependent, but she is, and the fact that she's like a pretend one, but I guess the live action one is real, so you'll have that. Anyways, let's not get into the quandary of why people are attracted to animated characters, because I don't understand it. I don't understand how that works. I mean, I'm not saying that I'm immune to it. I'm just saying that it's just a very strange situation. So let's move on to the idea that if you're doing the mirror and you don't want to do the R2-D2 trick, or you can't do it, where the R2-D2 trick being you can make it so that your opponent's cat is just forced to hit your Kenobi. If you don't have a faster cat, it doesn't work. But if you want to use R2-D2 on a different squad, then it doesn't work as well. But the idea being, of course, that if you're going to trade your tanks, you may as well just have Mace Windu die, because who cares about him? He can just go right out the window, and just like in the movie, and Ki-Adi-Mundi and the Chagruda twins can carry it home. I mean, it's not going to be wonderful banners. It can go kind of sideways. You can lose other characters as well, but this is a pretty reliable, quote-unquote cheap mirror match counter. I don't like that as a counter, honestly. I like Jedi Master Luke as a counter. I like using Rey as a counter as well. You can actually get way better banners than that, and then you can put this team on defense. Though a better version of it, I think. Now, the Lord Vader counter here is... why did I call this the Lord Vader counter? Oh, because it has Jedi Anakin, and it has Padme. So the idea here is that Anakin can apply that healing immunity with his basic, so that's great, and everything. Padme can help dispel things and heal. Kenobi can help dispel things and heal. The other Kenobi can dispel things and heal. And the whole time, you just want to do a lot of armor shreds on their Lord Vader when you get the opportunity, and it takes a while. This can get kind of messy. This is a somewhat cheap version of this team, and I do think that in a lot of ways, my favorite versions of Kenobi, of Jedi Master Kenobi, are the ones with Padme, because otherwise Padme just kind of gets left in the dust. Sometimes she can go with Jedi Anakin, and they try to forge a life together with Clone Sergeant and with Cody, and it just doesn't work because it sucks. Sometimes you put them on defense and people super overestimate or underestimate your team, and you can get a win, but for the most part, like, she's kind of just left in the lurch. And I mean, I'm going to put out a video at some point, I think, about just like the Jedi offense and trying to, finding ways to be super flexible if you keep all of your Jedi on offense and including your Padme squad. But one way or another, I think Padme she becomes Sadme when she doesn't have the rest of her team. She doesn't get Snips, she doesn't get Kenobi, and in this weird counter, you'd actually have to put Snips somewhere else because she can't stay here. So I don't know. I do like having versions of the of the Kenobi team with Padme, just so that you're including her instead of unlike other squads where you are trying to use trying to diversify and make more squads. Padme just isn't good enough right now in the game to actually diversify. That's one disappointment I have, in fact, with the Legends characters being released. Like, I don't really have a complaint really, but one team that could really use a boost right now is Padme, because Kenobi came and just took all of her good characters away, and she's just sad. She's just sad. So let's see. Oh yeah, so the Supreme Leader Kylo counter, I mean, basically anything can counter it, but the thing I'm pointing it out is we don't have Cat here, because you can still take out Kylo with this. I think you can take out Jedi Master Luke teams. You can probably take out a lot of teams. Cat is required against like Lord Vader, or using a Jedi Master Kenobi mirror or whatever. If they have Cat, then you're going to be screwed. But this team will take out most Galactic Legends, probably most Rey teams as well, and you don't need Cat. And you're fine. You can put Cat somewhere else. Throw in with Bando or some random crap. Who knows? Who knows what could happen? He'll do like 7 damage instead of 6. But meanwhile, we're going to talk about Sith Eternal Emperor here, and it's a very interesting thing because he does take out all the Galactic Legends except for Lord Vader. I've heard rumors that he can take out Lord Vader too, but I haven't seen any comps that actually have convinced me of that. I just hear people claiming fun things. So the Jedi Master Kenobi counter is really fun just because CG tried to make a build that made it so that he can't actually so that Sith Eternal can't beat Kenobi. Like, they wanted him to be at a disadvantage, and he is still. But if you kind of follow how this works, and I'm going to put this video out real soon as well, folks. This it may be even in the same one. I haven't decided yet. But the idea is Sith Eternal, as long as he gets 3 stacks of Beskar from armor and he gets the med pack from Watt, then he can take out the Jedi Master Kenobi teams. As long you have to mod him for 200k health, and you have to do a couple fancy things, swapping your links and everything. It's a somewhat intricate dance trying to make all of your mods work the right way. But at the end of the day, this can work. It does obviously cost quite a bit. Like, Thrawn is part of other good teams. Watt and Armor both are vital parts of other counters as well. And of course, the Geo Brood Alpha would completely screw you from being able to use a Geo team. But if you need to, this team can work against Jedi Master Kenobi. Otherwise, against all the other things that he counters, he can either just go solo, or he can take either the Armor or Watt, depending on which babysitter he needs. Now, I'll try to link that babysitter link in the video description so you guys can see it, because you don't usually need both. Sometimes you need both for an extreme counter, like using him against Jedi Master Kenobi, but usually Armor or Watt have a specific build in mind that they're going to be countering, and so both of them have their uses. You don't usually need both, and so I'm not saying that you need both here for most counters. I see people do that a lot, and I don't see why. Just get him 200k health and move along. But this team is actually very good. He is very good with either one of them, but depending on who he's countering, it won't work at all. Like, Armor doesn't work if you're trying to counter Jedi Master Luke, because she'll get ability blocked immediately, never get your Beskar ingots, and you're just, as I keep saying, screwed. So next up is Lord Vader. This is the one that is least known, and so I'm not going to claim that I'm the sole arbiter of truth here, or on any of these for that matter, but this one is pretty interesting. So a lot of times I'm going to want him on defense. On offense it works. You probably on offense want Maul though, and Maul is really nice to be able to take with Maul DeLoreans. And of course, if you have Maul DeLoreans, you probably want Armor, in which case you're probably screwing some of your other counters. So maybe it's not going to work out that way. Who knows? But Lord Vader, the best version of him is going to be with Admiral Piet, usually, just because you're gaining all these stacks. Everyone here is Empire except for Maul, but every time you get a locked buff, then everyone's mastery goes up, and when the mastery goes up from Piet, because Piet's there, then when Lord Vader uses his ultimate, then he gains a ton of mastery based off of all of those other stacks of mastery, and it just continues to go. So even on defense, this is probably the best version. I like Stormtrooper here better than I like Shore Trooper, if you have him, but of course he's kind of a luxury, and a lot of people already have Shore Trooper geared up, so you don't really necessarily need Shore, or you don't need Storm if you have Shore. You probably want both, frankly, the way things are going. I like the pre-taunt from Shore on other teams as well. He's more plug-and-play than Stormtrooper. So this team is good on offense or defense. That's the best version, but it's like I said in the comment above it, it's ruinous. It's not as good. It just isn't, unfortunately. So, well, it is as good. It's not as good for your roster because it screws your Imperial Troopers, your Mandalorian team, and, well, I mean, that's it. But that's 3 full teams in with each other for minimal returns. Now, if you want the economy version, guys, if you can do without Kylo Ren unmasked, he's a Disufu, a dark side aligned Force user, and that means that he unlocks certain parts of Lord Vader's kit that aren't normally unlocked unless you do that. So you could just take Lord Vader and 4 tanks, and not very many teams are going to be able to counter this still, and you're still got all of your good characters to go forth and prosper. You can also put Gideon in here if you want to, just to make damage less, but I do like the idea of, like, they're all just 4 super tanky characters just sitting there waiting to be to bludgeon or be bludgeoned. And honestly, Kylo is kind of fun because he has that 2-turn stun, and he can taunt. Well, I mean, he can always taunt, but I mean, he can just hang out there and be Swolo, all of that kind of stuff. So, you know, it's fun. I think my favorite comp though is, and there's going to be released something later at some point, I think in the next few weeks. So it's not really my comp to share, but there's a comp that beats this Lord Vader team, or that beats the Lord Vader team. That's kind of an off meta counter, but it doesn't work if Darth Vader's in it. So if you put Darth Vader there, and then you have Kylo, and then you have the Royal Guard and Stormtrooper, then I mean, you're covering a lot of bases, and you still have Maul and Piet to go on their individual teams for GAC. So I think that this is probably the best. This is my favorite comp so far. Maybe we'll have Mara Jade. Maybe Mara Jade won't actually be helping Emperor Palpatine. Maybe Mara Jade will help Lord Vader instead, and she'll be the Disufu that we all hoped for. I don't really care. I bet Starkiller actually does that instead, but that's just speculation. Now, we're going to go to Jedi Master Kenobi, we're going to go to Jedi Master Luke here, and Jedi Master Luke counters every single galactic legend out there except for, I've even seen him counter Sith Eternal Emperor. It's a mess, and I'm not going to mention that here. I don't know if it's, I wonder how consistent it even is, but one way or another, you can counter Jedi Master Kenobi pretty easily. I put out a video recently doing just that. You can climb in arena all day using this comp. You don't need General Skywalker or anything, and that makes this team actually fairly good for offense in Grand Arena as well, just because like you don't need General Skywalker who needs to be on Jedi. You can just, I mean, you could break this into 2 different teams, right? Like you can have a Jedi Revan team and even have a Revan go with Jedi Luke or whatever. But if you're taking out one of the best teams in the game, in Jedi Master Kenobi, then this is probably worthwhile to use because it's a lesser team. Now the idea here is, okay, so that's a Kenobi counter, and then this is the team that if you want to take Rey with the Jedi team, then if she uses Jedi, then you can use the Whack-A-Mole team, which is just Jedi Master Luke with a bunch of pretty decent Jedi, and then Ayla, everyone calls Ayla to assist, and she just goes and stuns people, and when they come out of stun, then she hits them again, and it's like whack-a-mole. You just keep hitting the guys as they come out of stealth, or out of stun, and it's really fun. You keep everyone alive, Ki-Adi-Mundi does damage, and of course Jedi Master Luke's leadership does that with Relic 9 especially. It's really fun. This team is a blast, and it's available if Rey uses that Jedi build that I showed you guys up there. So that works. If you want to take out Lord Vader, then this is the comp to do it. This is my favorite comp, at least. You can also use Jedi Knight Luke if you want, but the idea, I mean, Jedi Revan, it just keeps going with Jedi Master Luke. If you want to counter the really top tier Galactic Legends, you need Revan for his mark, for his turn swapping, all kinds of awesome things for his savior. And in this case, it's really nice to have someone who can dispel all of the nonsense from Lord Vader. You can have Ki-Adi-Mundi doing the armor shreds and doing the primary damage, and have Shaak Ti also dispelling things, and Hermit Yoda healing people out at a good rate. You just need to keep an eye on people's health and try to keep them as healthy as possible, because Lord Vader team, every once in a while, someone will just die, and you're like, whoa, that was madness. Whoa. My team's dead. Whoa. So next is, and final, is the worst of the Galactic Legends, at least in GAC. But he still does some good stuff. So the best version of First Order of Supreme Leader Kylo is this, I think. On offense or defense, like you take a Rey team out with this, and you get a 47, and you take, or a 46 maybe. You try to take some Jedi Master Kenobi teams out, or Jedi Master Luke teams out with this. It kind of works. It can work. You put it on defense, and it usually just gets destroyed by an off-meta team. But, I mean, it can, if you have a modded really super fast and they don't have a fast old Ben, then you can probably be okay. You might be fine. This team is, in my opinion, I mean, it's kind of outdated. I don't know, he's in a really awkward spot, guys. He can counter a couple Galactic Legends, but not well, not for good efficiency. And You put him on defense and he gets beat by a lot of teams that aren't that good either. Like a Jedi Master Luke team can kind of just half-heartedly destroy him, even if they're not like your A-tier list Jedi on the team. So if you want to do a defensive build for him, you can make your Phasma super duper fast. Remember, her Omicron doesn't work in GAC, so if that's applied, then don't assume it's going to work. Or if you do assume that, then you deserve the sadness from losing. So anyways, what happens is if you make her super duper duper fast, then like it makes it so that some of the off, like the Jedi Rev and Jedi Luke off meta counter is not as easy because Phasma is going to be able to feed turn meter to the rest of her squad, and Kylo gives her what, like 40 speed, something like that. And if she gets herself to like 300 something speed, she'll usually just be able to take people out. So, I mean, this is an okay build. I don't necessarily love this anyways. I mean, I've beat plenty of Phasma teams in the past, but in theory, this is kind of a good defensive build for him. You could also put First Order Officer down, and he's also kind of a counter. I don't know. You know, you hope the First Order Stormtrooper is able to somehow, like, assist, and his assist calls Supreme Leader Kylo to assist, or, you know, calls him to help. I don't really know. I don't know. The one really cool thing is, so the final thing that I would say, I'm not saying I recommend this necessarily. I'm definitely going to be putting him on defense some this season. I don't know exactly where or when, but if you're going to keep him for offense, though, one of the things to keep in mind is he does counter Lord Vader pretty nicely, as long as you have him modded well. We're going to do a modding video for Galactic Legends as well. We're going to just cover all the Galactic Legend things ever, and all the GAC things ever, before the season starts, maybe. But, gosh, we only got like 8 days left. This is actually exciting. But Supreme Leader Kylo with the rest of this team. So you've got you're abusing the Night Sister zombie and the old Daka thing once again. So you need, if you're taking out Lord Vader, you want to get that third stack of Beskar from the armor, and it takes a while, but it takes, like, if you're countering Lord Vader, they just keep killing zombie because they can't get past that taunt. There's not really an AoE there available. So the armor, as long as you can wait a little bit longer, really nice to be able to make it so that Supreme Leader Kylo can't be crit if you can get that third Beskar ingot. And then of course you want the shield tech from Watt so that he dispels all the nonsense every time from Lord Vader, so that he's not dazed and he's not, you know, he's healing himself at a pretty high rate. And then it takes a while. Eventually Armor and Watt die. Sometimes Old Daka can revive them, but usually, as long as Old Daka doesn't, you gotta watch yourself. You don't want Old Daka to die of sadness of all those dots from Lord Vader. But one way or another, this comp works pretty well. I've climbed with it a few times now. You know, it's not great banners. You're going to, what, you're gonna have, how many banners remaining in test? You're going to lose 6 from Armor and Watt, and then you're going to lose 3 total combined from Kylo, Old Daka, and Zombie. So it's going to be like a 51 against Lord Vader. It's not pretty. And that's like best case scenario, right? That's what you can get. I guess Kylo could potentially get one back, like 52 if you get super lucky, maybe even more if Old Daka revives these guys at the very, very, very end of the fight. But one way or another, I mean, you can time out if you're not careful. It's a sketchy win, but you can get the win if you know how to do it, if you're modded right, etc. And then, I mean, so that works, but I think the thing that I like the most is, well, I don't know how much. Here's the thing: he takes out all the other teams really well if you know how to do it. Though, like, if you just try to run him solo against a Darth Revan team, it doesn't always work. But if you give him like First Order Stormtrooper and First Order Officer, that works. And then that frees up your other really, fairly strong Kylo team with Hux, because your opponents can't gain turn meter, and the whole team is, you get a fast OG Kylo, you can go, and then you have 2 good teams. Like you have one Galactic Legend who can kind of just go out and destroy people. He can pwn noobs as necessary, and he can be converted into like the Lord Vader killing machine that he needs to be, or he can solo like a Grievous team or a Darth Revan team or Gas, whatever you want to do. And then you have a decent team for defense or even on offense. I mean, this team is okay, but one way or another, I mean, He's kind of a sad dude lately. He doesn't have a lot going for him, and he could use a boost. So I think that's it, folks. Let me know what you think. What did I miss in the comments? I would love to hear from you. So, guys, thank you all so much for watching. And remember that in all things, Zareth prevails.